Good afternoon, everybody. Fire away.
So Coach,
Yes, sir.
Last year it seemed your team shocked the world by making the Final Four. Sounds like this year might not be a shock. Do you go that far?
Well, I think it's very hard. When you talk about Final Fours, you look over the last 4 years, the two best teams, the two best records in the country were Arizona and Virginia. They've won the most games and most championships of any teams in the country, and they did not go to the Final Four. So when you start talking, you got to go to the Final Four, you're really foolish. You know, you need to get in the tournament. That's what you need to be worried about. We've had some really good teams that didn't get to the Final Four, and we've had, a couple teams that really things came together and got there. But it's a very difficult thing to do, and people start talking about that now, and like, well, this season won't be successful unless you go to the Final Four. Those people are on .coms. They're on .coms for a reason.
So far with all the newcomers, whether it was the transfer, the freshmen, and the players that you already had here, how well have they blended together through the summer and through the first couple weeks of practice?
I think the first 2 weeks have been good. It's a very hard-working group. We've never put 5 new guys in 1 year that I can remember, that were actually 5 new guys that actually played a lot, which will happen this year. I think we will use 9 or 10 guys. I think we'll be able to do some more things. When you have 6, 7 guys, you can't press too much. There's certain things you can't do. So we'll be able to do some more things. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work, but we'll do some more things. But it's going to take a while to fit all these things together. When I spoke this summer, I said we have more depth, which is true. And we have, people at every position, a couple guys at every position, which we haven't had in a long time. Now, whether that equates into having a better team is something completely different from what I was talking about this summer. Maybe I wasn't clear in what I was saying.
So did you not say this is one of the best teams you've had in the last?
Could be. I always say that. Could be. I said that 1 year we won about 18 games, too. Could.
Coach, aside from dealing with the media, what do you see as the greatest challenge for this particular team?
The first one isn't a challenge. When I can't deal with you guys, I will be ready to be done then. Yeah, I think every team has its challenges. 5 new players, certainly, is always is a major issue, getting those guys ready, blending everybody in. I think that's really the challenge for this group. In the regular season last year, we were not very good, and we really played well in the tournament, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we were not a very good team last year. And we need to be a lot better team this year than we were last year. And we lost 3 really good players. 2 guys are playing in the NBA, and 1 guy's playing in Spain, and one of the highest leagues in Spain. So I think we have a lot of work to do, and we're very happy with the talents of the guys we have, but we're a long ways away. We got a lot of work to do. Again, we've never put 5 guys in a position where they're going to all be in a significant playing situations, and so that's a challenge.
Jim, is 5th-year seniors, new guys to the program, but veterans for college basketball. Andrew White and John Gillen, how have they fit in here so far, and what kind of impact will they have?
They fit in well. They're more mature, a little bit more experienced, but they have to learn a new system, and sometimes you have some old habits, not necessarily bad habits, but old habits that fit in someplace else that might not fit in here. So it takes an adjustment period for them, just as it does for the freshmen. But again, The 5 new guys are working hard. They're doing everything we've asked them to do, and I would rate their effort of all the players on a par or better than any group we've had for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is.
Jim, I think you said earlier this summer that Tyus Battle was as good as any freshman in the country coming in this year.
I must say things in the summertime just for saying it, just to, I don't know, why do I say those things?
What is it that you like about him, and how do you see
Well,
him?
he's a very talented player. He's got great size, quickness, athletic ability. He plays hard all the time. He works hard at the game. Again, he's a very, very good player. I think all 3 of our freshmen are playing very well. I think Matt Moyer has made up a lot of ground. He missed a lot, and he's made up a lot of ground the last few days of practice. But those 2 freshmen in Torian have played very, very well in practices. Very happy with them.
Jim, what have the last 13 months done for Pascal's growth?
He's worked hard. Ryan has done a great job with him in the weight room. His lower body strength is still an issue, but his upper body strength has gotten much better. His offensive game, he didn't play offense in high school. I mean, he really literally just, played defense. And so last year, he really couldn't finish around the basket, and he's gotten much better this year around the basket. He's been out of basketball for a year, and, that's always it takes some time to get adjusted to that. But he's worked very hard. I think he's a much better player than he was a year ago, and I'm very happy with what he's doing.
Talk about Dawan. Last year he was rehabbing, coming back from injury, had a full season, and now he's, I guess, working more on his game than just getting.
I think Dawan's improved. I think obviously last year he hadn't played in 2 years. It's tough. I think he did really well, given the circumstances last year. I think he's playing better this year. I think he's shooting a little better. I think he's finishing a little bit better. I can't say enough about him. He's deserves everything he gets. He's worked really, really hard for a long time, and I think I see a improvement over last year. I think all of our returning players, I see a significant improvement in Frank and what he's done, his physicality, his work in the weight room. Shooting the ball. He's worked really hard. I think Tyler Lydon has really gotten bigger and stronger, and improved. I think Tyler Robeson's playing well. I think all of the guys that are returning are playing at a much higher level than they did last year.
Coach, how key will Tyler Lydon be to the success of your team this year?
Well, he was key last year, so I mean, he's certainly not going to be any less this year. He'll be very important. He'll probably start at the 3, and he'll probably play some 4, and he'll play some 5. And sometimes he's one of the few players that I would ever try to let do that. In fact, he's probably the only player that I've ever let play those 3 positions, and he can do it.
Coach?
Jim, you mentioned you mentioned a little more depth this year, and you mentioned the idea of you might be able to press a little more. Do you wish your teams in the last couple of years have been able to play with a little more tempo, and do you want that to be something that happens?
Well, we have always liked to press here. It's harder to press in college basketball. Teams are just built to attack pressure and get easy shots. There's just too many well-coached, good teams out there that it's hard to press. When you have 7 guys, you can't press. You just can't use that energy that you have to use and still have energy at the end of the game. It's bad enough the guys are playing 36 minutes just without pressing. So you can't add that on. But we always have worked on it. It came in handy last year in a couple of games. We wouldn't have won without pressure. But we think we'll pressure more. But again, when we get into the season and it's not there, then we won't use it. We work on it all the time. every year. We work on our press every year, a lot, almost every practice. And some years we just don't use it much at all, and other years it's been very important for us. But you know, this team should be able to press more, but it's very hard to press good teams, well-coached teams, because whenever you double the ball, somebody's open, and good teams find that guy, and you know, you can get hurt that way. But yeah, I think we will pick up and pressure more.
Jim,
How
what's
life is going to go from coming off the bench for you and having guys like Malachi and Mike Benajay, Trevor Cooney on the floor with him to this year, likely being in a much bigger role? What kind of adjustment is he going to go through?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a normal progression. He doesn't have those guys, but he's got Andrew White and Frank Howard and Tyler Roberson, and Dajuan Coleman with him. So he doesn't have to do everything. He'll do a little bit more probably, but he played 30 minutes a game last year. It's not like he played 20 minutes. So I'd like to hope that nobody has to play a whole lot of minutes this year. We'll see how it goes. But no, he's perfectly ready to do what he needs to do. And he's got plenty of veteran players out there. We probably have more seniors, or as many seniors as any good team in the country, probably.
Jim, you mentioned playing 9 or 10 guys this year. Do you think it's a misperception that you don't play guys?
Well, if you look at the record, if you're smart enough to look back at the record, you'll know that we have. If you're not smart enough to, why should I talk to you?
What's one or two elements you hope Andrew White can add to your team this year?
Well, I know he can shoot, for sure. He's a good player. I think he was the leading rebounder at Nebraska last year, which is probably why they didn't win a lot. But he's a good player. He's a good all-around player. He's a veteran guy.
Do you want him to be the same player for you this year that he was at Nebraska, or does he fit into your team?
No, I mean, we're a different team than that, so no. All that stuff will unfold. I could probably predict it, but I'm not going to. Somebody would say, why did he say that?
When you have a couple grad transfers like you do they come in and fill a leadership role right away, or since they're new, do they kind of slip into maybe a different role they had?
Well, that's a good question. I think every team has different guys that, you know, in terms of leadership. I think we have a lot of veteran guys. I expect them all to be leaders. I do. I think that we have guys that are capable that don't necessarily say a lot, but if Dajuan says something, they'll all listen to him, for sure. And I think we've got a lot of guys that can do that. But the best teams have a lot of guys that are good leaders. If they listen to me, they won't have to worry about who's leading.
What do you see from John Gillen and what he could bring?
John's a really good player. He can push the ball up the court, can get in the lane. You know, he's quick, he's physical, he's strong. I think he's a real good player. He gives us something that we don't have in terms of that penetration and quickness, and he's a good shooter. You know, I think he's a very good player.
Jim, we've seen a lot of athletes be more vocal about social justice
Mm-hmm.
issues. What are your thoughts on protesting during the national anthem, and have you talked to your guys about that?
We haven't talked about. We will, but they have to decide for themselves what they think is something they would want to do. We would talk about it as a team. I've always been a believer in, if you want to do something, do it. Do something constructive. I've never been a protest guy. I don't think that accomplishes that much. I think if you want to get involved in the community, that's a good thing. I think you should do that. I think what we did in Los Angeles with the Olympic team, we talked to members of the community, we talked to the police. The chief of police of Los Angeles was there. Some of his officers were there. I think that kind of movement is good. I think it accomplished something. you know, I've always believed you stand for the national anthem. It's important. When I do that, I think about the soldiers that serve our country, and I just look at it that way. But you know, everybody's got their own way of protesting something and drawing attention to something, and I'm not going to criticize anybody for doing that. And our players are welcome to, we'll talk about it, and if they would like to do something, that's something we would talk about as a team.
What was your reaction to the notice of allegations that you were overseeing earlier this week?
I'm only concerned about Syracuse. I'm not concerned about anything else.
Preseason-wise, with the preseason ranking, what are your thoughts on the preseason ranking?
I don't know, where are we ranked?
17 USA Today.
17, huh? Geez, I voted us a lot higher than that. You know, it's, you know, like I said it 100 times, you know, preseason rankings, it's good. People think you might have a chance, but, you know, you got to do it on the court. You don't get into the tournament because of your ranking at the beginning of the year. So I really don't think about it too much.
Coach, about transfers.
Well, you got a lot of questions today. What?
I've been waiting a whole year. Two
Just
transfers.
kidding.
Historically, you haven't taken a lot of transfers. This year, is it strictly a case of need, or have you changed your philosophy?
We had 8 guys, and if you know you get an injury with 8 guys, you're down pretty quick. So we knew we had to get somebody, and we're fortunate to get Johnny early, and then Andrew came available late, and we needed another shooter to have the kind of team we'd like to have, and he was available very, very happily, and we were able to get that done. So the transfers we've taken have been very impactful on our program, whether it was, you know, Wes Johnson. We haven't taken that many, but the guys we've taken have been very impactful. And when you're down numbers and you can get a 5th year, I don't like the rule, but the rule is there, and if you can help your team, you try to help your team, and we certainly helped our team with Johnny and with Andrew, and you know, so that's what we're looking to do, but it's not something that we would always do, but it's something you do in certain circumstances, and you know, with guys leaving, all of a sudden, you know, if Malachi had stayed, we probably would have not taken a guy. We probably wouldn't have gone into that market. We probably would have just played with the 9 guys. But once he left, you're not going to get another player, freshman, that stage, that time of the year. So something you have to look at, and it's here to stay pretty much now. There was over 100 guys that left. So if you need a guy and you can, at that stage of the year, you can't get a freshman that's going to help you. So if you can get a guy that started 2 or 3 years someplace, he's a veteran player, then you know you have to do that to help your team, and you don't hurt recruiting, and you really get something we didn't have. So we're not hurting any of our players either. So it's a win for everybody.
Coach, statistics don't always show the spirit of the team. What kind of intangibles do you see with this group that you think is going to help you move forward?
What kind of?
Intangibles. Little things you can't put.
Well, you never know about a team till you get in the games. I mean, everybody's ready now. Everybody's happy. Everybody's got to wait until you get in there, until you have a couple battles. And you know, last year's team, we struggled and we got beat, but we came every game. We played every game. We tried to win every game. We never were down much. The good thing about last year's team, we were close. I mean, all year. It wasn't like we were getting beat by a lot, and then all of a sudden we played better. We played pretty well all year. We didn't play that much better in the tournament than we played all year, and I don't even think we played better in the tournament than we played all year. But you're playing North Carolina and some of those teams, you know, Virginia and Louisville on the road, Florida State on the road. Those are, you know, you're not going to win those games unless you're really, really good. And we weren't really, really good. So, but that team just kept playing, didn't get discouraged. You know, I'm sure many thought we should give up and start over and get a new coaching staff and couldn't play zone anymore and all those things. But they did stop talking about that after 2 more weeks, but that's the way it goes, I guess. But this team is, we've got good character people. They work hard, and there's always adversity. There's always adversity, always, with every team. It's never a smooth sail, and you have to overcome things, and I'm sure we'll have that same circumstance this year.
Coach, we saw a large emphasis on the 3-ball last year. Can we expect the same from this year's group as well?
We'll shoot some threes. I think last year we really, that was the best way for us to score last year. I think we can do some other things this year, but it's part of the game now. You want to shoot the 3. Everybody that can make them can shoot them.
A few years ago, you guys had a big progression with Rock moving from his junior to his senior year. Can we expect anything like that from Tyler in his offensive game?
Which Tyler?
Tyler Robeson, sorry. My bad.
Tyler is he's what he is. He's not going to change a lot. He works at it. I think he's made some improvements, but he's, to make that jump, he's got to be able to consistently make it 15, 16 footer. If he does that, he's going to make a big jump.
Just give your assessment of the league at this point.
The league's good. A lot of good teams. 10, 11 teams, maybe 12 that could try to fight their way to the tournament. It's really better than it's been. It's been pretty good. We done again for another year?
I could ask a few more questions.
Thank you. Appreciate it.